Myself and I have. Who said that? Sadly, a lot of them are coming to Florida.
Well, hi, Seth. I'm so glad you were able to join us tonight, coming out to California from beautiful Florida. I just had a couple quick questions for you. Hope you'd answer some of them.
Sure, let's do it.
All right. How do you find happiness in this world, despite all of the evil things going on?
I mean, you got to count your blessings for one. I think there's a lot of people who've had a lot worse off than me, and most of us actually in America. So I don't know. I mean, things could be worse than they are. So I don't know that there's reason to get discouraged by all the evil. There's always been evil. I think it's just a matter of perspective and focusing on your blessings.
So do you think social media brings positivity to your life or negativity?
Probably a mixture of both. I think it can have a positive impact on people, and we get positive feedback from what we're doing, the work that we're doing. But it can also be a time suck, and it can distract you from your family and your friends and work that you should be doing. So I think there's pros and cons. You don't want it to be an addiction, but if you can use it to reach people, that's what it does, is it connects you with people. So you can combat bad ideas and make people laugh. So
who are some of your favorite political influencers that you've found online?
I like people who are smart and funny and unafraid. So a couple that come to mind, I really like Ali Stuckey over at The Blaze, and Matt Walsh. I think they're both funny, and they're both fearless.
Fearless is a great way to describe them, especially Matt with his new documentary.
Yeah.
Now, I kind of want to know, what is the best thing about your life at this moment?
My kids, my boys. I mean, getting a text from them, or like when they try to FaceTime me or something when I'm traveling. I mean, they light up my life. So them by far.
So are you more of a dog person or a cat person?
Dog for sure. We have 3 dogs.
So are dogs more of a conservative pet?
Maybe, I don't know. I've heard that. I've heard that they are because they're docile and you can boss them around, and conservatives are supposed to be authoritarians that just want to boss people around. So that's why they like dogs. I don't know. I just think dogs are they're sweet and affectionate, and I don't know. They give you something other animals don't. So I don't know if that's a conservative or a liberal thing. I know some liberals who have dogs.
Well, what type of pet ownership then gives you major red flags?
Red flags in what context? If I'm dating someone, I'm married now, so it doesn't matter. Anything that would not normally be considered a pet, that's normally dangerous or weird or scary, spiders, snakes, stuff like that. I don't know. Those are not like cuddly, sweet things.
On the topic of weird, what would be the weirdest thing I would find if I searched through your browser history?
What a weird question. There's actually something funny that happened recently. I got someone told me that I was on WikiFeet, which is like some feet website. And so I searched for myself on WikiFeet. So you would find Seth Dillon WikiFeet in my browser history. And I am on there. I have like a 3.79 rating apparently. So somebody has uploaded my picture onto that site. So
that's high praise.
that is a weird thing you'll find in my browser history.
Now, on the topic of weird as well, I want to know, what is the weirdest conspiracy theory come true in your mind?
I don't know about weirdest, but one of those ones that maybe flies under the radar is this idea that misinformation is changing a lot of people's minds and is being used to gain power and keep power. I think that's been put out there as if it's a right-wing thing, like we mislead people with widespread misinformation campaigns, but it's really a projection thing with the shoes on the other foot. So it's true. It's a conspiracy about the right, but it's true about the left.
Very interesting thought. Now, I also want to know, what is your favorite Babylon Bee joke that has come true?
Probably the Trump joke we did where we said that Trump had done more for Christianity than Jesus himself. And then it got fact-checked and rated false. And then 2 years later, he actually said that he had done more for Christianity and religion in general than any other person in history. So that one is just kind of, it's got every angle to it. It was fact-checked, and then it also came true. So that's probably my favorite. Makes
me wonder if Trump is watching it himself. And, with that amount of growth, I'm curious, what's next?
We're going to do more video stuff. we're talking and thinking about doing a show, either live action or animated. We're not sure about that yet, but we're in talks with production studios and pitching ideas. So maybe that'll be what we get into next.
Okay, love that. Now, what purpose, I mean, you're all about humor, but what purpose to you does humor serve in our society?
I think humor is an effective vehicle for truth delivery. So humor can challenge false narratives or insane ideas by bringing you back to reality.
Of all the humorous people in the world, who are 3 of your favorite comedians?
It's funny, I'm not super into like stand-up comedy. I'm not like a big stand-up guy, but I would say at any given moment, my favorite comedians are those who are choosing to poke holes in the popular narrative instead of advancing it. So anybody who's currently getting beat up on stage because they're saying jokes they're not supposed to be making, those are my favorites. So, I mean, people like Ricky Gervais right now, Dave Chappelle, Bill Maher, these guys are willing to say things that they're not supposed to be saying. So they're my favorites at the moment.
Yes or no question. Is comedy an art form?
Yeah. I mean, it's a craft that requires a lot of talent. So in that sense, I think, yeah, there's art to it. Satire is kind of its own unique take on comedy. It's not always funny, but I think there's art to it, sure.
So then abstract art, is that a turn on or a turn off?
For me, turn off. Yeah,
Agreed.
I don't get it. I don't understand abstract art. Maybe I'm not trained in understanding what it's all about.
So then is beauty in the eye of the beholder?
No, I would say there is such a thing as aesthetic truths, objective beauty. I think that when someone looks at something in nature, for example, that's beautiful, they're not just describing their own personal feelings and describing how sublime it is or something. They're actually making a true statement about something in reality. So no, I would say it's not.
I would agree with you on that one. Now, quick pivot. I want to know who your favorite founding father is and why.
The foundingness of the founding fathers, is that a word? George Washington. I mean, he's the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army, first president, big on freedom, free speech, freedom of religion, brilliant, bold. I'm going to go with George.
Good choice. Now, if you were a founding father, what law would you first implement?
Well, it'd be hard to do better than they did with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I mean, the law that restricts Congress from passing certain laws that would abridge speech, the exercise of religion. I think they got it right with the First Amendment. So I don't know that I could do better than that.
What do you think is the number one thing that is dividing America today?
Wokeness. Almost every debate we're having between left and right now is over woke ideology, whether dealing with gender, race, wokeness.
And what is the worst woke moment that you have seen lately?
A Supreme Court nominee being unwilling to define the word woman.
Pretty much a shame.
Yeah.
Now, random thought. Can you be moral without being religious?
Of course. Yeah. We're all made in God's image. We all have a conscience. We all have the law written on our hearts. You don't have to be religious to know what's right. I think you just need to have God in the picture, at least in terms of accounting for God's existence in order to have morality. But you don't need to believe in God to have moral values. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. So are people innately good, or is moral virtue more of a learned thing?
Morality is in us. We have, like I said, we're made in God's image, so we have the ability to discern what's good and what's not. But that has to be trained, right? I mean, you have to teach children to do what's right. I think to do what's wrong is often easier and more fun. So, learning to say no to temptation and do the right thing is absolutely something that needs to be trained, but it's not that we don't know what it is.
I like that. Now, last thing. Can you share the Bible verse with me that is the most impactful to your life right now?
John 16:33, where Jesus is talking about how he wants people to have peace in him because he's overcome the world. Even though you have trials and tribulations right now, he says, I have overcome the world. I think that's a very comforting thought when we're dealing with, a lot of the adversity that we have, and just in culture and the culture wars in general, but in our business and our line of work and all the nonsense that we have to deal with. It's a very comforting idea to be able to rest in his accomplishment
Well, thank you for sharing that with me. And thank you for spending your time with our club today. Safe travels back to Florida.
Thank you. Thank you.